In an apparently very painful moment on Tuesday evening, an elderly woman who appears suffering from age-related bending and muscle weakness known medically as kyphosis could be seen struggling and battling helplessly for the safety of her own life as a group of terrorists invaded and took over a church in Nigeria. The worshippers of Christ Apostolic Church, CAC, were attacked during their church service that was live-streamed on social media platforms, and the video live coverage captured the moment the elderly woman was moving from one hideout to another, hiding under table, trying to move fast and run for safety alongside others before the terrorists, who also parked the worshippers' belongings, intercepted the camera device that was live streaming the church service and probably destroyed the device. The attack, according to Evangelical Church Winning All, ECWA News Media, known as ECWA Nationwide Gist. The attackers were Islamic terrorists and they invaded the church located at Eruku community, a border town with Kogi State in the Ekiti local government area of Kwara State around 5 p.m. on Tuesday evening, killing 3 worshippers at the spot and kidnapped several Christian worshippers in the church, including the presiding pastor. The ECWA News Media has reported in recent days that the attacks on Christian communities in Nigeria is growing almost higher on daily basis, specifically stating that Reverend Father Bobby Pascal, parish priest of St. Stephen Parish in Kushgaju, Kagako local government area, Kaduna State, was kidnapped by Islamic terrorists in the early hours on Monday, November 17, 2025. In addition, the ECWA News Media also published image of 12 residents including an ECWA pastor that were kidnapped by Islamic terrorists last week at the Gidanwaya community in Lere local government area of Kaduna State. The safety of the elderly woman is yet to be ascertained as at press time, as the Kwara State Police Command of the Nigeria Police Force described the successful terrorist act as an attempted bandits attack, according to Sahara Reporters News Media. Eyewitnesses reported that the attackers came in suddenly, shooting sporadically, and gathered some worshippers, including the pastor, and marched them into the bush. The exact number of abducted victims remains unknown, but residents say the attackers fled through bush paths linking neighboring communities. The incident has left the community in panic and chaos, with residents and travelers fleeing into surrounding bushes for safety. At midnight on Tuesday, some stranded travelers in a viral video called for help as they could not continue their journey due to the terrorists who were on rampage in the town. Evangelical Church Winning All, ECWA Nationwide Gist News Media stated that, this evening, around 5 p.m. today, Islamist terrorists invaded CAC in Eruku, Kwara State while evening service was going on. The pastor of the church and some females have been kidnapped, 3 people shot dead. The church program was on live stream when bandits entered the church. In another report, the ECWA News Media stated that another Catholic priest has reportedly been abducted by Islamic terrorists in Kaduna. Reverend Father Bobby Pascal, parish priest of St. Stephen Parish in Kushgaju, Kagako local government area, Kaduna State, was taken in the early hours of Monday, November 17, 2025. The Gidanwaya community in Lere local government area of Kaduna State has released photos of 12 residents abducted by bandits last week. Reports indicate the attack left 4 people dead and several others injured. Among the kidnapped are 6 women, a minor, 3 young men, and an ECWA church reverend. The victims remain in the hands of the kidnappers, with the community urgently appealing for their safe and immediate release. Punch newspaper on Tuesday reported that at least 5 persons have been killed and several others abducted after suspected bandits launched 2 separate attacks in Eruku, a boundary town with Kogi State in the Ekiti local government area of Kwara State on Tuesday. In the first incident, the attackers stormed a branch of the Christ Apostolic Church, CAC, during a special service, shooting sporadically before targeting worshippers. The Punch learned that 3 worshippers were shot dead on the spot, while the pastor and an unspecified number of congregants were whisked away into the bush. An eyewitness, who pleaded not to be named, said, the gunmen came into the church while people were gathered. They started shooting and 3 people died immediately. They later rounded up some worshippers, including the pastor, and marched them into the bush. The exact number of abducted victims remains unclear, but residents said the gunmen escaped through bush paths leading to neighboring communities in Kogi State. Earlier in the evening, the bandits reportedly launched another violent attack along the Ilorin-Kaba road, forcing travelers and residents to abandon their vehicles and flee into nearby bushes. A traveler returning from Niger State, who recorded a distress voice note obtained by the Punch, said, "We suddenly ran into them. Everybody abandoned the cars and scattered into the bush. They came around 6:30 p.m. and started shooting. 2 people were killed instantly, and we don't even know how many were taken. They're still shooting, you can hear it." A community leader, Mr. Benjamin Iyeribe, told the Punch that Eruku has been under perpetual attacks for the last 3 weeks, lamenting that repeated distress calls to authorities have yielded no tangible response. "We have begged the local and state governments for help, but nothing concrete has come. We are living in fear every day," he said. Iyeribe added that despite resistance from vigilantes, local hunters, the police, and the Eruku Progressive Union, the relentless attacks have overwhelmed the community. "We need federal help. These attacks are becoming too much for us to bear. We are pleading with the president to intervene urgently," he said. Sahara Reporters News Media also reported that the Kwara State Police Command has confirmed a terrorist attack in Eruku town, which occurred around 6 p.m. on Tuesday, November 18th. According to a statement released by the police public relations officer, SP Adeto Nigere Adeyemi, the divisional police officer, DPO, of Eruku and his team, working alongside local vigilantes, responded swiftly to the sound of gunshots from the outskirts of the town. She noted that the combined security effort reportedly forced the assailants to flee into the bush. The statement read, "The Kwara State Police Command confirms an attempted bandit attack in Eruku, which occurred at about 1800 hours of today, the 18th of November 2025. The DPO Eruku and his team of police operatives, in collaboration with vigilantes, swiftly responded to the sound of gunshots emanating from the outskirts of the town, prompting the hoodlums to flee into the bush. Upon thorough search of the area, one male victim, Mr. Aderemi, was discovered fatally shot inside the Christ Apostolic Church, Oke-Asegan, while one Mr. Tunde Asaba Ajayi, another victim of fatal gunshot, was found in the bush. A vigilante, Shegun Alaja, sustained gunshot injuries and was immediately rushed to ECWA Hospital, Eruku, for medical treatment. CP Adekimi Ajo commended the swift response of the police and vigilantes. He also assures the public that security agencies will not relent until these hoodlums are totally decimated. Further updates will be provided as investigations progress, she added. Meanwhile, Barrister Opeyemi Bodand, in an ex-social media post written as a letter to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, stated that, "I'm writing to bring to your President Bola Ahmed Tinubu attention a dire situation unfolding in Eruku community, located in Kwara State. Tonight, heavily armed bandits brutally attacked worshippers at the Christ Apostolic Church, resulting in the tragic loss of lives and the kidnapping of many innocent worshippers. This heinous act is the latest in a series of assaults that have plagued our community for months, with Osi, Eruku, and Egbe roads being hotspots for these attacks. It's worth mentioning that the state governor's efforts seem inadequate, and we desperately need your leadership and support to address this crisis. As the president, you have sworn to protect the lives of Nigerian citizens, and we're counting on you to uphold that promise. Eruku shares a boundary with Kogi and Ekiti states, and we urgently need an increased security presence, in particular, the deployment of military personnel, and I urge you to take concrete steps to bring an end to these attacks. Please, Mr. President, act now to save lives and restore peace in Eruku."
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.
Armed Forces of Nigeria, AFN, under the command and control of the President and Commander-in-Chief, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has kept mum since early morning night on Monday, when a MAG news agency, the international media outlet of the Islamic State West Africa province, ISWAP, started sending and disseminating a photograph of Brigadier General Musa Uba in ISWAP captivity, indicating untrue. The Brigadier General, the Nigerian Army authority, had earlier claimed on Saturday to be safe and led his troops back to base, a statement the army issued to challenge media reports that the Brigadier General was captured and held captive by the ISWAP terrorists after the terrorists ambushed the 25 Task Force Brigade of the Armed Forces of Nigeria, killing several soldiers and civilian JTF members in Wajiroko village near Sambisa Forest in Borno State on Friday around 5 p.m. This Humangal news media that was among the earliest news providers that reported the ISWAP deadly attacks on Nigeria soldiers on Saturday, after being challenged with a denial press release issued by the Nigerian Army authority that the Brigadier General was not kidnapped, claiming the Brigadier General led his men to fought through the ambush of the terrorists, forcing the terrorists to flee in disarray. Humangal on Monday early morning published a news report and insisted that the Brigadier General was in ISWAP captivity. According to Humangal, it was already in possession of a photograph showing the Brigadier General in ISWAP captivity, but, due to its editorial policy, it would not publish the image. Soon, the image of the kidnapped Brigadier General became available to some media through a MAG news agency publication that claimed that the Brigadier General was executed shortly after being interrogated by the ISWAP terrorists. The MAG only presented a photo evidence of the Brigadier General being captured, but any material evidence, if the Brigadier General has been killed, was not provided, following the apparent unfortunate development in the Nigeria Army community. Former Vice President of Nigeria, Atiku Abubakar on Monday in a statement personally signed called on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to admit incompetence and the president should either ask for help or tendered a letter of resignation immediately. According to the former Nigeria Vice President, Atiku Abubakar, I am deeply saddened and extremely shocked and disturbed by news making the rounds of the killing of Brigadier General Musa Uba by terrorists and the failure of the military hierarchy to clearly explain how it happened or what went wrong, as initial official denials indicated that this was not the case. This for me is unequivocally a failure of political leadership, as the president seems only more interested in decimating the opposition by all means possible, while forgetting his crucial role as Commander-in-Chief of our armed forces. General Musa's death, along with the deaths of some of the troops he was leading, is one death too many and a bold terrorist resurgence our dear country cannot afford. I urge all citizens and our military leaders to take heart, as even this season shall pass away. To Mr. President, the security of the lives of our people is your primary responsibility, and you must live up to it or be humble enough to admit incompetence and either ask for help or resign. If I were president, I would order the military to occupy Borno State or any state under siege by bandits or armed groups until they clear those areas. We must care enough for the men and women who put their lives on the line for our sake. I offer my condolences to the Nigerian Armed Forces, the family of the bereaved, and indeed to all Nigerians. May this dark period pass over us as a nation, sooner than later. Premium Times in later report on Monday evening, stated that the brigade commander, Uba, earlier declared safe by the Nigerian Army after fighters of the Islamic State West Africa Province, ISWAP, ambushed his team along the Dambo-Abu axis in Borno State, has now been reported dead. The terror group, ISWAP, has announced that it captured Mr. Uba and killed him. The group also shared photos to prove its criminal act. PR Nigeria, a news platform close to security agencies, also confirmed that the general was kidnapped and killed after military authorities thought he was safe after surviving the initial ambush. On Sunday, citing a Humangal story, Premium Times reported that Mr. Uba was kidnapped after ISWAP terrorists ambushed his team alongside operatives of the Civilian Joint Task Force, CJTF, on Friday night. The army, however, denied that he was kidnapped and said he was safe after soldiers successfully repelled the ambush. ISWAP claims it executed Mr. Uba. In an Arabic statement published in its propaganda newsletter magazine, AMAC, ISWAP said it had captured Mr. Uba and executed him after he was interrogated. The 2016 breakaway faction of Boko Haram attached a picture collage of Mr. Uba, showing when he was in office and when he was captured. A picture of the brigade commander from inside his office and a picture of him after he was captured by the Islamic State. The group captioned the picture, "Islamic State fighters overthrew a senior officer in the Nigerian Army after a successful ambush on a military force in Borno," the group said, adding that the commander was captured after he fled from the Wajiroko attack. ISWAP said as soon as it received intel that Mr. Uba had escaped, a unit of fighters set out to search for him, and succeeded in capturing him on Saturday, near a village, after he was wounded. The purported picture of his capture shows Mr. Uba's camouflage stained with blood around his legs. ISWAP said it interrogated Mr. Uba before killing him on the spot. The terror group further taunted the Nigerian Army, describing its statement as an outright lie and a miserable security failure. PR Nigeria reports that Mr. Uba earlier confirmed his safety to his superiors after an aerial operation that helped him escape the ISWAP attack. But the event took a tragic turn. Reports of his location compelled the terrorists to track him down, leading to his capture and subsequent summary execution after an interrogation, the platform reported. Mr. Uba's killings, according to experts, marked the first time the insurgents would kill an officer with such a high rank. His killing was blamed on insecure military communications within the Northeast Theater, PR Nigeria reported. Humangle, in an earliest news report on Monday morning, stated that the Nigerian Army's statement that Brigadier General M. Uba, the brigade commander 25 Task Force Brigade, successfully led troops back to base after an ambush last Friday, November 14th, in the Damboa area of Borno State, northeastern Nigeria, has been challenged by an exclusive, verified image obtained by Humangle. The image shows the senior officer alive but held by insurgents, contradicting the military's official account. The ambush by ISWAP fighters on a joint military and civilian joint task force, CJTF, convoy on View Road resulted in the deaths of several soldiers and CJTF members, with the general's whereabouts initially reported as unknown. Humangle's early report cited sources on the ground who said the general was abducted during the attack. We later reported that he had escaped on foot and returned to base, after several security sources insisted on this. The Nigerian Army also issued a statement denying the abduction, insisting the general had safely led his men back to base and that the incident was an ambush, causing casualties but no kidnapping. However, the military provided no evidence to back this claim at the time. A verified image Humangle has seen shows the commander in the custody of ISWAP insurgents, with a gunshot wound to the leg. Verification was carried out through detailed frame analysis, geolocation cross-checking, and confirmation from independent security sources familiar with the region and the incident. The image, shortly after the ambush, shows the general surrounded by armed fighters, appearing fatigued but alive. Humangle, in line with our editorial policies, has made the editorial decision not to publish the picture. This new evidence directly challenges the Army's public statement, highlighting a significant discrepancy in the information being shared about frontline realities. The contradictory accounts raise concerns about communication gaps within the military and the potential consequences of misinformation for public trust and operational security. The capture of a serving commander marks a rare and serious development in the ongoing conflict with insurgent groups in Nigeria's northeast. In recent months, ISWAP has intensified attacks around Damboa and the wider Borno region, escalating the dangers faced by both military personnel and civilians. Security analysts who reviewed the image described the abduction as both an operational setback and a symbolic blow to Nigerian forces fighting the insurgency. Families of soldiers deployed in the area have expressed frustration and anxiety over the conflicting reports about their loved ones' safety. Efforts to secure fresh comments from the Nigerian Army have been ongoing, but as of publication, no new statement has been issued addressing the emerging evidence.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.
United Nigeria Airlines confirmed in a statement issued a few minutes ago that two popular Nigeria social media influencers, Martins Vincent Otts aka Veridagman and Freedom Ok-Petritz-Atsboy aka Mr. Jollof were deplaned and handed over to Asaba International Airport Police Authority for investigation after the two celebrities goes physical with each other inside the United Nigeria Airlines aircraft as the plane was about to depart from Asaba to Lagos early morning on Monday. In a press release issued and made available by the airline's public relations officer, Chibuike Uloka, the United Nigeria Airlines, confirms that an altercation occurred between two passengers, identified as Martins Vincent Otts, Veridagman, and Freedom Ok-Petritz-Atsboy, Mr. Jollof, during the boarding of Flight UNO 523 at Asaba International Airport on the morning of the 17th of November 2025. In full compliance with global aviation safety protocols, our crew responded immediately and professionally to de-escalate the situation. Both passengers were deboarded without delay to ensure the safety, comfort, and security of all other passengers and crew members. They were subsequently handed over to airport security for further investigation. United Nigeria Airlines places the highest priority on safety and maintains a zero-tolerance policy for any conduct that threatens the security or well-being of passengers or crew. After all standard procedures were completed, the flight departed safely while the passengers involved in the altercation were still with the authorities. We remain firmly committed to providing a safe, respectful, and secure travel experience across our network. Videos made online by co-passengers on the plane showed Veridagman threatening to slap Mr. Jollof, and Mr. Jollof advanced towards him in a manner that was initially and apparently perceived by others inside the plane as a joke, until the situation escalated into a mild brawl as crew members and passengers tried to intervene. It is gathered that the fight occurred as a result of misunderstanding both had since 2024 wherein Veridagman had reportedly vowed to attack Mr. Jollof anytime anywhere. Shortly after the fight, Veridagman in a video statement said that, "I don't chop Jollof father for inside plane. Man way day bite, I beat am."
Give them wine. Give them wine. Give them. Give them. Give them. No. Give them.
Please don't. See.
I don't understand you.
Oh, I don't chop Jollof, father. Where's I please? See, they bite me. Man, where they bite? They bite. Man, where they bite? You know, shame me, they bite me.
This person,
man, where they bite? You won't bite me. Man, where they bite? I beat. They beg, they help them. They bite me. Jollof, they bite me. If they bite me, I enter plane, I see him. After I see today, he go slap me. I go near and I punch me, boom. When I follow him, he started bite me. He had red. He bite me. Sure? Who is this man? Man, my phone for easy. My phone? Ah, he bites me. Oh God. He won't spoil my tattoo now. It's in teeth and no brush.
Brigade, you the news in a more digital way.
Politics of obvious and apparent personal vendetta among some youths in Edo State, which has been ongoing for years, most especially since the immediate former governor of the state, Godwin Obaseki, left office on November 12, 2024, took a new twist on Sunday night in the city of Manchester in the United Kingdom, as a yet-to-be properly identified man walked into an event hall where the former governor, Godwin Obaseki, and his wife, Betty, were scheduled to meet Edo people, and attacked one of their main political and media supporters, Albert Obaze, who probably had been in the bad books of some Edo youth's sequel to his ways of always defending the ex-governor Obaseki and exchanging words with those against the ex-governor. Videos made available online indicated that Albert Obaze was attacked while he was live streaming the event on Facebook and other social media platforms as guests were coming in and waiting for the arrival of the former Edo State Governor, Godwin Obaseki, and his wife, Betty. Initially, the suspected attacker walked up to the victim and asked to have a conversation with him, saying, "I am the double chief you are looking for, come let's talk," but Albert Obaze refused and replied to the attacker that, "You are the one looking for me." What had happened, as Albert Obaze continued to demand to know why the attacker had decided to see him, immediately, the attacker hit the victim on the face. Manchester City Police were seen alongside their vehicles shortly after the attack, but the City Police Department is yet to issue a statement as at the time of filing in this report. Albert Obaze, in a Facebook live streaming on Monday early morning night at a hospital in Manchester, said that he's currently having difficulty with hearing in one of his ears hit by the attacker. On November 5, 2025, while on live Facebook video streaming, Albert Obaze had raised alarms of act of possible threat to his life by a man simply identified as Double Chief of Manchester, who he said had threatened to beat him repeatedly if he visited Manchester to attend and organize the Obaseki thank you visit to his supporters. Also during the live video, Albert Obaze narrated how he was almost attacked by some Edo youths in Italy, thus described some Edo youths abroad as people who always act like animals. Before now, Albert Obaze may have faced a lot of threats of possible attacks issued by some Edo youths who also see him as an enemy of the Benin monarch following the controversies surrounding the establishment of Museum of the West African Art, MOWA, in Edo State, which some youths protested and prevented the commissioning of the multi-billion naira cultural hub last Sunday, an act which led to foreign guests being escorted to safety by the Nigeria police force team personally led by the Edo State Police Commissioner. The continued verbal attacks and insults on Albert Obaze and his family, especially his biological parents, in reactions to the political aide's statements over the controversies surrounding the MOWA establishment, made his younger brother, Smart Obaze, to issue a video statement in recent days and insulted his younger brother's principal, ex-Governor Godwin Obaseki, for allegedly endangering his brother's life and bringing all manners of insults to their family, even when his elder brother, Albert Obaze, was never given any political position during his 8 years as governor of Edo State. Smart Obaze asked why must it always be his brother, Albert Obaze, defending and receiving insults because of Obaseki. Why are the Obaseki's family not coming out to defend the ex-governor? Ex-Governor Godwin Obaseki became an issue of concerns for some youths in Edo State after some of the youths in the state tagged the ex-governor as betrayal, saying they were the ones that helped Obaseki to power, but, after taking over as Edo State Governor, Godwin Obaseki abandoned them and allegedly brushed them aside in the scheme of things, especially in the area of tax collections from traders and commercial drivers. During the time of Godwin Obaseki, the governor put a stop to manual collection of taxes from traders and commercial drivers, and made the method of tax collections electronically. As such, some youths who violated the governor's directives were arrested and detained for days. Some of the arrested and detained youths were members of the governor's former political party who believed they were the ones that helped Obaseki to power during his first tenure as governor of the state in the South-South geopolitical zone in Nigeria.
Manchester, a matter is coming. Manchester, a matter is coming. Oh no! Oh no! Look that gate is not going anywhere. Look your place. Lock the gate. I'm gonna kill you. Lock your place. Kill you. Lock your place. I'm gonna kill you. Lock your place. I come on here. You're crazy. I come on here. You take lock your place.
What is the matter?
Lock the gate. Lock your place. Lock your place. Facebook. Lock your place. I'm gonna kill you. You're crazy. Know me. Lock that door!
Do you know you don't have the right to hold me?
Tell me that you
don't have the right to hold me. You're not
So, guys, so for those struggling with the location, watch this video. So, it's not a hidden event. Hey, my data. I agree to.
Maybe double chief of my.
I agree to. I agree final.
Maybe double chief for you the fire.
I agree to.
The more talk.
I agree to.
More talk.
I agree to though. What's happening?
They say they find me now.
I say they find you. Are you they find me?
I don't see you.
Are you they find me?
More good talk.
Are you they find me?
More good talk.
What's happening?
Who goes?
What's happening? What's happening? Oh no!
Brigade, view the news in a more digital way.
Nigerian Army Authority has confirmed the killing of 4 persons with the inclusion of 2 soldiers and 2 civilian JTF when members of the Islamic State West Africa Province ISWAP terrorists on Friday evening ambushed a brigade of Nigerian Army, personally led by the brigade commander, Brigadier General M. Uber around Wajiroko community in Azir Malte area of Damboa local government area of Borno State, which, according to Humangle News Media, the ISWAP terrorists opened fire on a convoy of several military and civilian joint task force vehicles, causing the brigade of the armed forces of Nigeria an apparent full destabilization, leading to the Brigadier General missing in action for several hours but started responding to WhatsApp messages few moments later, but the Nigerian Army Authority insisted that the Brigadier General and the commander of the 25 Task Force Brigade personally led the Nigerian Army troops back to base, after an apparent failed attempt to rescue communities that are probably still under terrorists' control in the areas close to Sambisa Forest. According to Lieutenant Colonel Apollonia Anil, the acting director of the Nigerian Army Public Relations, in a statement issued on Saturday, troops of 25 Task Force Brigade, on routine patrol to secure communities around Wajiroko in Azir Malte, Damboa local government area of Borno State, came under a sudden and heavy insurgents' fire while returning from a successful patrol within the fringes of Sambisa Forest. The patrol team, which was led by the Commander 25 Brigade Brigadier General M. Uber and comprised troops of 25 Task Force Brigade and members of Civilian Joint Task Force, CJTF courageously fought through the insurgents' ambush with superior firepower, forcing them to withdraw in disarray and to abandon their mission. During the encounter, 2 brave soldiers and 2 heroic CJTF members paid the supreme price while on active service to the nation. While commending the troops for the gallantry, the Army High Command commiserates with families and associates of the deceased gallants for their heroic sacrifice to the nation. The Army headquarters also wishes to debunk the fake narrative going round some media platforms online alleging the abduction of the brigade commander. The general public is hereby advised to disregard the fake news regarding the incident while praying for the continuous success of our gallant servicemen and women. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Wajiroko, Nigerian Army Medal, salutes the uncommon bravery, resilience and sacrifice of the gallant troops who have continued to operate in one of the most dangerous theaters of conflict on behalf of our dear nation. Their unflinching commitment, even in the face of grave danger, remains a powerful reminder of the daily sacrifices being made by our gallant servicemen and women to keep Nigeria safe. Humangle in its news publication had reported that an attack from members of the Islamic State West Africa Province, ISWAP, occurred around 5 p.m. yesterday near Sabongari in Damboa local government area, Borno State, northeastern Nigeria. The terrorists, concealed along the route, opened fire on a mixed convoy of soldiers and members of the Civilian Joint Task Force, CJTF, killing 2 soldiers and 2 CJTF personnel. A CJTF member stationed in Nzula, close to the attack site, told Humangle that the convoy was moving in the direction of Bongri when it was intercepted. It was on the Bew Road, he said, requesting anonymity for safety reasons. The convoy consisted of the military and members of the CJTF. A resident of Damboa, familiar with the movement of the convoy, said it departed the town around 2 p.m. with 2 Hilux vehicles, 2 armored personnel carriers, and several motorcycles. The terrorists killed 2 soldiers and 2 CJTF, he said. They also took away some motorcycles. Reinforcement later left Damboa, 2 Hilux and 2 armored vehicles, when the incident happened. However, the most alarming development is the disappearance of a brigade commander who was part of the operation. A senior CJTF member in Damboa, who witnessed the convoy's departure, confirmed the situation. We don't know where he is at the moment, but he responds to WhatsApp messages. The commander was able to return on foot after missing for several hours in what is being described as an escape from the attackers. This is the first time since the start of Nigeria's counterinsurgency campaign that a serving general directly engaged on the front line went missing for a while in an ambush. The development raises concerns about the sophistication of recent ISWAP attacks and the increasing risks faced by senior officers deployed to volatile areas. Damboa and surrounding communities have seen repeated insurgent attacks in recent months, including assaults on patrol teams, ambushes along rural roads, and raids on farming settlements. Residents say the attack underscores the persistent insecurity along major roads despite years of military presence. We were unable to obtain responses from the Nigerian military at the time of press. They had also not issued an official statement.
Brigade, view the news in a more digital way.
President Volodymyr Zelensky has ordered the new Prime Minister of Ukraine, Yulia Sviridenko, to involve law enforcement agencies including the anti-corruption police in the mass audits of Ukraine's state-owned companies. Zelensky, who gave the order this week while in one-on-one meeting with the female Prime Minister, said, "The law enforcement agencies of Ukraine must take immediate action based on the outcome or results of the audits being initiated by Yulia Sviridenko, the current Prime Minister of Ukraine, who assumed office on July 17, 2025, after being confirmed by the Verkhovna Rada, meaning Ukraine's parliament, following President Volodymyr Zelensky's nomination of Sviridenko as part of a major government reshuffle, replacing the previous Prime Minister, Denis Shmyhal, who became the new Minister of Defense, and Sviridenko previously served as the first Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Economic Development and Trade. The new position made her the second woman in Ukraine's history to hold the position of Prime Minister. Meanwhile, during the week, Zelensky also announced that the Nordic countries, Denmark, Finland, Iceland, Norway, along with other Baltic-friendly countries of Ukraine, have decided to commit an additional $500 million to the prioritized Ukraine requirements list, Pearl Initiative, a NATO-led initiative to expedite the supply of critically needed US-manufactured weapons to the country, which, Zelensky said, will be of a substantial help. In a number of statements during the week, Zelensky said, "I had a meeting with the Prime Minister of Ukraine. First and foremost, we focused on the situation with recovery efforts in the regions after the Russian strikes. Repair crews are working almost around the clock wherever needed, and the necessary resources have been deployed. We are increasing our reserve of equipment, and work with partners on this issue is constantly ongoing. Julius Sveridenko also reported on the implementation of support programs for frontline and border communities. We are ensuring the necessary funding. Starting tomorrow, a new winter support program for our people will be launched. Government officials will present all the details publicly. Last year, more than 14 million Ukrainians benefited from winter support, and we expect no smaller scale this winter. The Prime Minister reported on the launch of audit processes in state-owned companies. We agreed that the audits must be conducted promptly, and all results must be forwarded to law enforcement and anti-corruption agencies for appropriate action. Personnel decisions will follow based on the findings. I also instructed that Ukraine's key partners be promptly informed about the audit outcomes and related decisions. Transparency in state-owned companies and the elimination of any schemes must be guaranteed. We also discussed personnel changes in the government. The Prime Minister of Ukraine will propose candidates for the posts of Minister of Energy and Minister of Justice. Last night, Patriots performed well, successfully intercepting Russian ballistic missiles. Yet we still need considerably more forces, systems, and compatible missiles to protect lives. This week, the Nordic countries, Denmark, Finland, Iceland, Norway, along with our Baltic friends, decided to commit an additional $500 million to the Pearl Initiative, which will be a substantial help. We are also working on deliveries of other advanced air defense systems and strengthening our aviation. A major deal with France is in preparation and will be finalized soon, a historic agreement. We are setting up a deal with Greece as well, on energy to maximize options for gas supplies to Ukraine, both for this winter and strategically for the long term. Agreements with various European countries, from Norway to Greece, will ensure our state's gas supply guarantees. I thank all partners who are helping. I held a video conference with the heads of all Ukraine's diplomatic missions. I am grateful to our diplomats for their efforts and for representing Ukraine's interests with dignity around the world. We discussed the main priorities of their work for the near future and for the coming year. It is crucial to continue strengthening our air defense. Ukraine needs air defense systems and missiles for them. We must expand the Pearl Initiative, through which we receive weapons for our defense, intensify efforts to involve countries that have not yet joined and increase contributions. The development of the SAFE instrument is also important. Other topics included the return of Ukrainian children abducted by Russia and the protection of human rights in temporarily occupied territories. We also discussed the next steps in diplomatic work on UN resolutions supporting Ukraine. Ukraine needs support, and today, it is especially important that every diplomat works to strengthen the state, ensure its protection, and enhance our positions. I presented the orders of the Golden Star and other state awards to the service members of Ukraine's security and defense forces, and handed the distinctions to the families of the fallen heroes who were awarded posthumously. We honor Ukraine's warriors. We thank Ukrainian families for giving us such warriors. We are doing everything to make Ukraine stronger every day. This is exactly what is needed. For every Russian strike, there is our response, and it will become even more tangible. For each of our fallen heroes, we will take revenge. And we will force Russia into peace, without any doubt. The day will come when this war ends, and when we guarantee real security for all Ukrainian children and for all our generations. We must guarantee Ukraine a life without war. Thank you to everyone who is bringing this day closer. And we will always honor the memory of all our people, all our heroes of different times who gave their lives so that Ukraine could live.
After-ISWAP-Ambushed, Brigade, you the news in a more digital way.
There may be good reasons at this level for the Nigeria Police Force under the leadership of the Inspector General of Police, IGP Kayode Egbetoken, to immediately invite Nigeria serving lawmaker, Senator Prince Chinedu Nwoko aka Ned Nwoko, for questioning, over apparent reasonable and evidence-based allegations of raping a minor, child marriage, child molestation, underage voters registration, and child abuse against the person of superstar Nigerian Nollywood actress, Regina Daniels, following the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC voters card, Senator Ned Nwoko presented this morning through his verified social media profile to challenge the allegation earlier made by Regina Daniels that she was still a minor at age 17 when the serving Nigeria senator forced her into early child marriage and started having sexual activities with her. A careful study of the INEC voters card, Regina Daniels' real name or full name was not stated in the election voters registration card that looked very questionable and manipulative. The voters card was issued on July 23, 2018 without the bearer real father's name. The voters card simply identify the actress as Daniels Regina Nimaka, with date of birth as October 10, 1998. This, Chius Nwoko, a family member of Senator Ned Nwoko in recent days issued a video statement wherein he accused and described the senator as a man of too many bad characters, saying that Senator Ned Nwoko and the actress' father once stayed together in one apartment, and the statement of Chius Nwoko indicated that Senator Ned Nwoko knows the real name of the biological father of the star actress. Hence, as a learned and well-educated person, Senator Ned Nwoko was probably in a good position to know that the voters card was questionable, and it appears to be very fraudulent, because, a year before the questionable and apparent fraudulent INEC voters card was issued, the actress had sworn an affidavit and declared her real names as Ajegwu Regina Nimaka Favor, born on the 10th of October, 2001 as stated in her 5 years international passport issued on May 9, 2017 and renewed on January 11, 2022 with same names and date of birth for 10 years international passport. According to the founder of Sahara Reporters News Media, Omoyele Sowore, it was Senator Ned Nwoko who probably and allegedly may have obtained the fake INEC voters card to conceal the real age of the star actress, saying, Senator Prince Ned Nwoko has traveled with Regina Daniels to Jordan, UAE, Egypt, with her only passport showing she was underage when Ned Nwoko married Gina, but for some curious reason, never took her to England, the US, or Europe because he knew the implications. Verbatim, Senator Ned Nwoko said in a statement issued on Thursday morning with the INEC voters card attached, that, it has come to my attention that false claims are being circulated by Regina, suggesting that I married her when she was 17 years old. These claims are entirely untrue and misleading. For clarity, during my first meeting with Regina, I asked her age, and she told me she was 21 years old. I further asked if she had any document to support this, and she presented her INEC voters card, which clearly shows that she was born on October 10, 1998. I informed her that I would keep this document in my possession, and I have done so since that day. I have also seen a BBC interview her mom granted after our marriage regarding her age. According to all verifiable records, our marriage took place 6 years ago, which means Regina is 27 years old today. Any suggestion that I married her at 17 is false and should not be accepted by the public. The facts are verifiable and indisputable. Until this is done, I urge the public to approach all her claims with caution and discernment, especially taking into account her current mental condition, having started and abandoned her rehabilitation from illegal drug addiction. In numbers of posts published on Wednesday and Thursday, Omoyele Sowore said, Senator Chinedu, Ned Nwoko of APC may believe he can outsmart the public, but the record tells a different story. Evidence now in the public domain shows that he entered into marriage with Regina Ajegwu Nimaka Favor when she was still a teenager, and the couple later traveled abroad to the UAE, Dubai, soon after she turned 18. Ned Nwoko personally handled her travel documentation for that trip, according to accounts from those familiar with the matter, to celebrate her 18th birthday. The same Senator Prince Ned Nwoko, long known for flaunting wealth and influence, has frequently used the now disgraced Nigeria police force to intimidate and detain members of his estranged wife's family and others speaking against his well-documented impunity. This pattern of harassment must stop. Nigeria cannot claim to stand for justice while people with immense political power and questionable fortunes use state institutions as private weapons. Justice must mean accountability, even for the rich and well-connected. Impunity must end. We have obtained a copy from Regina Daniels's international passport, which was issued based on her birth certificate. She was underage at the time of her marriage to Senator Prince Ned Nwoko. It's crucial to question ANEC Nigeria this discrepancy, as he is currently using an ANEC Nigeria voter's card to assert her age. As he knows, the process for obtaining a voter's card may not involve the rigorous scrutiny required for an international passport, which is based on a birth certificate and other legitimate IDs. The crooked All Progressives Congress senator knew what he was doing. That's reason he never traveled with Regina Daniels to Europe or America. On Wednesday, Omiyele Sowore had also said, evidence now available suggests that Senator Ned Nwoko traveled internationally with his now temporarily estranged wife, Regina Daniels, at a time when it is clear that she was still a minor. Records indicate she was born in October 2001 and that their marriage took place in May 2019, when she was 17 years old. Ned Nwoko changed Regina Daniels' name from Regina Nimaka Favor Ejegwu to Regina Daniels. He obtained a fake ANEC Nigeria voter card to conceal her age after introducing her to drugs to enable him to force himself on her. Senator Prince Ned Nwoko has traveled with Regina Daniels to Jordan, UAE, Egypt, with her only passport showing she was underage when Ned Nwoko married Gina, but for some curious reason, never took her to England, the US, or Europe because he knew the implications. This latest revelation raises serious legal and ethical questions that can never be ignored. The facts, as they stand, point to a violation of both moral and statutory boundaries, and the truth will soon be fully public. No amount of influence or political power should shield anyone from accountability when such grave issues are involved. Crooked All Progressives Congress Senator Prince Ned Nwoko is fully exposed now.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.
Former Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai has described the conduct and behavior of a Nigeria-serving minister and former governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, before a serving Nigeria soldier in the naval force as reckless, and thus insulted and disrespected the person and the office of the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, after the minister had a confrontation with the naval officer with the service name, A.M. Yerima, at Plot 1946, Gudua District, Abuja, over ownership and development rights to a parcel of land allegedly linked to a former chief of naval staff. This, a careful study of some video footage made available online, especially the video captured and published by Channels Television, apparently indicated that the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, physically assaulted one of the operatives of the Department of State Services, DSS, that was seen protecting the minister against a potential threat of armed soldier who was on a direct viewpoint with the minister. The DSS officer proactively moved to give the armed soldier a close marking and chest up to the defense line, with the armed soldier who was moving steps on a close range and direct viewpoint to the minister. But, surprisingly, the minister, in a manner that looks very disrespectful and belittling, walked up to the DSS officer and dragged him to leave the way. Professionally, the DSS operative angrily resisted Wike and said with a loud voice that he can't leave the defense line, that the armed soldier is being unprofessional with the way the armed soldier was standing on a direct viewpoint to the minister. Quickly, one of the combatant DSS officers from behind moved towards the armed soldier and pushed him off the defense line. Thereafter, the situation became violently rowdy and was almost leading to a complete fight, even when the DSS operatives formed a circle around the minister to protect him. Nyesom Wike was seen trying to violate the DSS human shield in a manner as if he was going personally to confront one of the armed soldiers. but the DSS officers ensured the minister was denied the opportunity to endanger his own life, and after the violent situation, all the armed soldiers moved backward while the DSS officers built a human defense wall against the armed soldiers completely. Only the senior army officer, who appeared not armed, was now in close contact with the minister, and according to the former chief of army staff, Lieutenant General Takuba Buratai, Nyesom Wike's action is a clear act that present danger to national security, and undermines the authority of the Commander-in-Chief and the integrity of the armed forces. The FCT minister, accompanied by senior officials of the Federal Capital Development Authority, had visited the site to stop what he described as an illegal construction, when he confronted a naval officer allegedly supervising the property. In a viral video of the incident, Wike was seen expressing outrage with insulting words such as, "You are a fool, when I graduated, you were still in primary school," while the officer insisted that he was acting on orders given to him by a vice admiral. Wike could be heard and seen in the videos shouting on top of his voice, saying, "You are in uniform, and you're telling me that the Navy owns this land. Who gave you the right to build without approval? Even if you are the Chief of Naval Staff, the law must be respected." The officer repeatedly responded that the property belonged to a former service chief and that the military had authorization to protect it. Takuba Buratai, who served Nigeria as Chief of Army Staff between 2015 and 2022, through his verified Facebook account on Tuesday early morning, said in quotes that the events of November 11, 2025, involving the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Barrister Nyesom Wike, demand an immediate and serious response. His public disparagement of a uniformed officer of the Nigerian Armed Forces transcends mere misconduct. It represents a palpable threat to national security and institutional integrity. A minister's verbal assault on a military officer in uniform is an act of profound indiscipline that strikes at the core of our nation's command and control structure. It deliberately undermines the chain of command, disrespects the authority of the Commander-in-Chief, and grievously wounds the morale of every individual who serves under the Nigerian flag. Such actions erode the very foundation of discipline upon which our national security apparatus stands. This cannot be dismissed as political theater. It is a reckless endangerment of national order. This action by Wike is clearly an indication of undermining the federal government's authority. Consequently, Barrister Nyesom Wike must tender an immediate and unequivocal public apology to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as Commander-in-Chief, the entire armed forces of Nigeria, and the specific officer whose honor was violated. Our nation's security must come first. It is time for decisive action, not politics of military bashing. The integrity of our armed forces demands nothing less.
Hong Kong. Sang dan drop. Sang di Kong. Sir.
It's embarrassing. You want to kill everybody? Please. Kill everybody. No, you
Sorry, I'm not. No. This is the minister here, please.
Guys, this is the minister here. Who are you? Who are you? I don't talk to you. What are you? Who are What I'm saying here, I'm it's order. It's not a government order. There's no former. Okay, can I tell something?
Sir, let me request.
Even if it's having a problem, this government, show me the document you have. You have no document. I print the document. Excuse me. I'm the minister. You cannot tell me. You cannot tell me that. We cannot continue to have this impunity. When I provide you to you.
Very confusing. You are very confusing.
I don't know what I need You don't have document. And you don't pass a prayer section. I think this is wrong. He has a
Abdul, don't worry.
Okay, what do you mean? Can I come to the officer? This is a CDS.
Hello, sir. Morning, sir. I'm fine, thank you, sir. Sir, yes, sir. Afternoon, sir. I'm Navy Lieutenant Yerima, sir. Security officer to Vice Admiral for good time. Yes, sir. So I'm here on the orders. Yes, sir, I'm here on the orders of the Admiral. Sir, we mobilized the site a couple of days ago, and then the engineer kept telling us that policemen are coming to embarrass them and harass them, and they've been coming to threaten them, but they don't leave to strike them, to arrest them and help. And then he brought it to our attention. So as the security officer to the Vice Admiral, I was called, and then we acted. Sir, we are not doing anything illegal. We are here on the orders of the Vice Admiral. That's it. Ours is just to come and explain.
Stop this here.
Sir, let me say, I request you, sir, there's no such thing in the former Vice Admiral.
I'm sorry. Show me the document you have. You have no document. Bring the document.
I have documents and everything has been meted.
You cannot tell me. You cannot tell me that. We cannot continue to add in this impunity. Where they provide even to people. You cannot continue this way. This country cannot continue along this line. How can that man at his level, even if he has a problem, he cannot reach me and say, look, I'm sorry, see what I have. You will send soldiers to intimidate who? We are all from this country. And this is government. You cannot be higher than any government. You cannot be carrying guns to intimidate people to not to do their work. Let me tell you, if not government, you was first staff who spoke to me here. You could have killed everybody here. No problem. I'm not one of those that they can intimidate.
On the contrary,
I'm doing my job.
Sir, we are not intimidating anybody.
That's what you're doing.
The civilian, the engineer mobilized to site, and then staff or workers of SED look at it.
No, listen now.
That is threatening them. And that was when the admiral gave the order.
He cannot give order against government.
Because the papers are complete and he said it's submitted them.
Are you the one? Listen, you don't the police one. Are you the one that will say paper? What will show me that you are good? First of all, show me that government gave you this. Show me that you have an approval to build what you are building. It has nothing to do with I'm a vice admiral, I'm a lieutenant general. That is not it. We must work according to law. We must work according to law.
We forwarded everything to you.
And
Yes,
to who? No, don't tell like this. Don't tell like this.
Don't you try this?
Don't tell me this. Don't tell me this. You're fine. Look at me, I'm lying. I'm more than you. Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? I'm
I am a small boy, but the commission of finance can never very good. Just come and complain. Stop this here. How do I pay him? How do I pay him? This is not professional. It's not professional. Please. You can't be paying a million for this thing. Yes, okay. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Other matters. I'm an officer. Take to orders.
So what? You had a who? Than me.
So I'm an officer. Take to orders.
To order that. You can
Mr. General.
Okay.
You
can never develop this property. I will not allow it.
No problem, sir.
I'm
only acting on my
orders.
orders.
If you want to kill everybody, kill everybody.
We will not kill
you cannot.
We will not. We will not kill anybody.
You put yourself in trouble.
We will not.
My friend, you see, what is that?
You cannot shut me up. You cannot shut me up. You are my senior. You cannot even talk when I'm talking. Because
I have to reach you.
You're going that way. I'll be talking and policemen will be talking.
Hey, you are taking with us.
That's an officer. Nobody does that.
We did not carry anybody.
The man took that. I will not allow because he was chief of numbers and then you to carry land.
Sir, everything was acquired legally.
Will you stop that?
Get
Will you stop that?
Sir, I'm an officer. I have integrity.
Shut up, your mouth. Will
not shut up.
Will you get out?
Sir, I won't shut up. Sir,
I was in school. You're not in school.
Sir, you can't shut
Will
me
you keep quiet?
can't
You take food.
I'm not
You are a big fool.
I'm not a fool,
You think you
sir.
can shoot anybody like that?
Sir, I'm not
You
a
are
fool.
Who are you?
I am not a fool, sir.
As for the time I graduated, you are in primary school.
I'm acting on orders.
Take for which order? You will see whether you will not be here.
Sir, you can't call me a fool.
Go and open up your
I'm an officer. I'm not a fool, sir.
Okay, I'm with you. You will have killed everybody here.
No, we won't kill anybody. We won't kill anybody. We are acting on orders.
Officers who are connected, bringing you the news in a more digital way.
Well-known human rights activist and founder of the Sahara Reporters news media, Omiyele Sowore has called on the British government, that the United Kingdom, UK should immediately place a ban on Nigeria serving senator representing Delta North Senatorial District in the Red Chamber of the National Assembly, Prince Chinedu Nwoko aka Ned Nwoko, as a registered lawyer in the United Kingdom over allegations of child abuse, raping of minor and molestation allegedly committed against the person of Nigeria popular Nollywood actress, Regina Daniels, after the superstar actress revealed on Sunday that she was forced into early marriage at the age of 17 by the serving Nigeria senator, which, according to Sawore, Regina Daniels at 17 was still a minor under the UK law and therefore called on the Law Society of England and Wales to be alerted, and the Solicitors Regulation Authority, SRA, must begin disciplinary proceedings before the Independent Solicitors Disciplinary Tribunal, SDT, determined Senator Ned Nwoko fitness to still practice law in the UK, while Sawore stated this earlier on Sunday. On Monday evening, Sawore raised alarm of fresh plans by the serving Nigeria senator, Ned Nwoko, to allegedly block the release of the detained Regina Daniels' brother, Samuel Ejegwu aka Sammy West, and arrest his mother-in-law, Regina Daniels' mother, Rita, and Regina Daniels' friends, but Sammy West was later seen in a video on Monday night being released from prison. According to Omoyele Sawore, APC Senator, Prince Ned Nwoko must be held accountable for crimes against a minor and abuse of power. The case of APC Senator Prince Ned Nwoko has gone far beyond politics. It now points to serious criminal conduct and gross abuse of power, as revealed by his now estranged wife, Regina Daniels. According to Regina Daniels, Senator Prince Ned Nwoko married her when she was only 17 years old, at a time when she was legally a minor under UK law, where Nwoko remains a registered legal practitioner. Any sexual activity following that marriage would, under British law, amount to statutory rape. More disturbing are Regina Daniels' allegations that Senator Nwoko introduced her to hard drugs while she was still underage and repeatedly forced himself upon her. These are not mere moral failings. They're serious criminal offenses that demand investigation and prosecution. It is unacceptable for Ned Nwoko to continue parading himself as a lawyer in the United Kingdom while facing these damning allegations. The Law Society of England and Wales must be alerted, and the Solicitors Regulation Authority, SRA, must begin disciplinary proceedings before the Independent Solicitors Disciplinary Tribunal, SDT, to determine his fitness to practice law in the UK. We will not allow Ned Nwoko to continue using the now disgraced Nigeria police force, his political influence, or illicit wealth to suppress victims, pervert justice, and trample on human rights in Nigeria or anywhere else in the world. Impunity has an expiry date, and that date is now. Stop Senator Prince Ned Nwoko's abuse of power and criminal manipulation of state institutions. While we continue working to secure the freedom of Samuel Ejegwu, Sammy West, who has been unjustly detained through the influence of crooked All Progressives Congress crooked Senator Prince Ned Nwoko, it is important to alert the public to the senator's ongoing schemes and abuses of power. Reliable information indicates that Senator Nwoko has deployed substantial funds to elements within the Nigeria police force in order to target and intimidate members of his estranged wife Regina Daniels' family and friends. Acting through corrupt police officials and in some instances attempting to draw in the NDLEA, he has sought to expand a web of harassment and unlawful arrests. Senator Prince Ned Nwoko allegedly pressured Nigeria police force officers earlier today to block Sammy West's bail, and even attempted to procure the arrest of Regina Daniels' friends and mother, Rita, under false claims that they were supplying her with drugs. Equally disturbing are credible reports that he illegally intercepted and monitored Regina Daniels' private WhatsApp communications, paying large sums to police operatives to track her calls and messages. Over 250 of such WhatsApp messages were submitted to implicate Regina Daniels' close circle that he alleged was supplying her hard drugs. In addition, Nwoko is said to have sponsored the fabrication of medical reports from Nizamiye Hospital in Abuja and another private facility in Abuja, in a desperate bid to criminalize Regina Daniels and those close to her. These actions amount to a grave abuse of state power and violation of fundamental rights. The public must understand that the true criminal here is Ned Nwoko himself, a man who married a minor, exposed her to drugs through manipulation, and repeatedly violated her bodily autonomy. We call on the Nigerian leadership to immediately call the Nigeria Police Force, the NDLEA, and also urge the Attorney General of the Federation, and relevant international human rights bodies to immediately investigate these allegations and to curtail Senator Nwoko's influence over security agencies in Nigeria. No individual, no matter how wealthy or politically connected, should be allowed to weaponize law enforcement institutions for personal vendettas. Justice must prevail, and Ned Nwoko must be held accountable for his crimes.
Brigade, you the news in a more digital way.
Nigeria's superstar actress who has been in the news since she got married to a man many said was old enough to be her grandfather, Regina Daniels on Sunday early morning night revealed that she was married to the Nigeria senator representing Delta North, Prince Chinedu Nwoko aka Ned Nwoko as a minor at the age of 17, a statement that allegedly accused the serving senator, Ned Nwoko of apparent serious crime of child abuse, raping of minor, child molestation and forced child marriage because Nigeria constitution stipulates 18 years of age for someone to be considered old enough to be able to consent to marriage or sexual activities, and any sexual activity with a minor, the older person is presumed according to the Nigeria constitution as a criminal suspect who took advantage of the minor and liable for child abuse and other related crimes. Although Senator Ned Nwoko is a Muslim by religion, a careful study of the Nigerian laws indicated that Islamic law is only binding on Muslim and not Muslim and Christian or people from other religions. We are also aware that both of them are from Delta State in the south-south geopolitical zone of Nigeria that is predominantly Christians that practices 18 years as a statutory and customary age requirement for someone to be considered old enough to give his or her voluntary consent for marriage and other forms of sexual activities. Last month October, there was a heated debate at the Nigeria Red Chamber of the National Assembly where the senators bemoaned the high rates of child abuse and defilement of minors in Nigeria and recommended a stiffer punishment of life imprisonment for offenders. Specifically, according to the Daily Post newspaper publication on October 21, 2025, the senator representing Edo North Senatorial District, Adams Oshiomhole, said defilement of a minor should be different from that of rape. For a minor, this is a kid that is not capable of consenting or otherwise and whose life can be destroyed almost permanently. Those involved in defilement should suffer great punishment. I propose 20 years imprisonment for whoever is found culpable for this crime without any option of fine, because I have seen cases of boys and girls under 5 and 10 years old being defiled by adults, he said. The proposal was, however, defeated by the majority in the Red Chamber of the National Assembly. Following the defeat of the bill, Senator Mohammed Adamu Aliero, Kebbi Central, proposed stiffer punishment of life imprisonment for any man or woman found wanting in the act. I want to propose that the punishment for defilement for minors be life imprisonment, whether it's a man or woman found culpable. According to Regina Daniels, before she became the wife of Senator Ned Nwoko, she was not into drugs or a drug addict. She alleged that it was Senator Ned Nwoko who influenced and forced her into the habits of taking drugs in order for she to be able to satisfy the senator's sexual desire or meet up with his sexual pleasure. Verbatim, Regina Daniels said, "Dearest ex-husband, thanks for breaking the crown you put on my head. No one knew us like we did, and I trusted you with all of me, even with my sex tape, which I pray never sees the light of day. Foolish me. When I married you at 17, was I on drugs? I thank God for time. My name is ruined for now, but I will rewrite my story. That narrative will be dead and gone. Now that I've let the one thing you had on me out, what else? It's time to fight with all of me in court. I'm not backing down now. Ned, how could you lie so openly and without even small remorse? You know my family has absolutely nothing to do with this. You have always tried to cut them off because of the bond we share, and now you are trying to make them look bad for no reason. Fine, I did drugs. So what? Is that even the issue between us? The moment we had a fight, you rushed to the public shouting, drugs, 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 because you knew it would make a perfect story for the media, something dramatic enough to distract everyone from the real issue. You want to find a reason to arrest everyone around me so that I will have no one left beside me, no friend, no support, no safe place to turn to. Then, when I'm completely isolated and broken, I will be forced to come back to you because I will have nowhere else to go. That has always been your strategy. Break people down, make them weak and powerless, and then have your way with them. But guess what? It's not going to work this time. Not anymore. You say you want me to go for rehab, but you are the same Ned who always wanted me high because, in your words, "Lem, sexier, when I'm high." You like me that way because it made me wild and romantic exactly how you wanted me to be. Why don't you also tell them how you force yourself on me whenever I say no? Why don't you tell them how you lock me up, seize my phones, and suddenly declare me mentally unstable the moment I say I no longer want to be in this relationship? But once I change my mind just to get out of that locked room, suddenly Lem fine again, Lem no longer mentally unstable, and apparently not in need of rehab anymore. Why don't you also tell them that all your wives and ex-wives are on drugs? And can you be kind enough to explain to them why that is? Why don't you also tell them how you lock me up and doctors to inject me with drugs meant for people with bipolar disorder? Why don't you tell them how you take my phones for weeks just because you hate that I talk to my family a lot? You have never seen me act incoherent, stumble, or lose control, so just stop. Every problem we have had started when I no longer wanted you, whether sober or even high. Stop using the drugs narrative to create distraction. Tell people the truth. I understand, Shah. You are feeling rejected and hurt, and you are struggling to make peace with the fact that it's all over. Let me make this very clear. No matter how much you think you spent on me, it can never equal the value of the time I gave you, my prime years, my energy, and the career opportunities I sacrificed while being with you. And for the record, I would have filed for divorce long ago if there was ever a legal marriage between us. We were never married in any court of law, and no documents were signed. Leave me alone, Ned. Marriage is not by force. Love is not by force. Stop trying to control what no longer belongs to you.
After-ISWAP-Ambushed, Brigade, youth the news in a more digital way.
Serving Nigeria Senator, Prince Chinedu Nwoko, well known as Nedo Nwoko, has listed and narrated some of the things he has done for the family of his absconded fourth wife, Regina Daniels, particularly stating that his mother-in-law, Regina Daniels' mother, Rita, received 125 million nairas from him in the past 2 years alone, apparently challenging the mother-in-law earlier media statement that none of the senator's children looked like a child of a billionaire, and that she on her own spent her hard-earned money to support the senator's election, in addition to the $50,000 Regina Daniels gave to the 65-year-old Muslim husband from the southern part of Nigeria. Outside that, Senator Ned Nwoko apparently tried to explain why his brother-in-law, Sammy, was arrested and detained after his wife, Regina Daniels, ran away from her matrimonial home and decided to end the marriage with the serving Nigeria senator on the ground of domestic violence, intimidation and oppression that made her look like nothing in the house of the senator, who she swiftly replied yesterday that Ned Nwoko never married her legally, and she was apparently still a minor at age 17 when the Nigeria serving senator allegedly forced her into early marriage. Details of Regina Daniels' statements and the legal implications will be reported and published in our next news report for proper clarification and understanding, so that appropriate government bodies like the Nigeria Police Force will be held accountable to take decisive action for the protection of girl-child against sexual abuse, molestation, raping of minor and child marriage. According to the serving senator, Ned Nwoko, who attached 2 videos to his statements of Sammy, Regina Daniels' brother having misunderstanding with some of his domestic staff and the policeman at his house. These videos show Sammy, Regina's brother, repeatedly coming to my home and harassing my children and domestic staff, especially whenever I was not around. His visits were often aggressive and disruptive. This is someone I sponsored through his last 2 years at the University of Ikpoma. I bought his musical instruments, rented and furnished a flat for him in Abuja, in addition to the house I bought for Regina in Asaba before our marriage for the use of all of them. I also routinely provided allowances to all members of the family, including her mother, Rita Daniel. Indeed, in the last 2 years, I have a record of transferring 125 million nairas to her alone. When Regina started her rehabilitation, there was a clear instruction by the doctors to strictly restrict people, especially her enablers, from having access to her. The therapy was arranged after I noticed troubling changes in her behavior linked to her dependence on certain illegal substances, including going for 48 hours without sleeping and eating every 2 hours. Unfortunately, Sammy, Destiny, some of their siblings, together with a few of their friends, notably Sonia Uche Montana among others, constantly defied those instructions. They would come into the house uninvited, sometimes forcing their way in, and would bring her the same drugs she was being treated for. Instead of helping her recover, they encouraged her addiction and completely frustrated the efforts of the doctors and therapists working with her. It is important to note that Lawrence, Sammy, his girlfriend NK, Destiny, Sonia, and others also took the same drugs as Regina. In fact, Lawrence and Sammy were the ones who first introduced and supplied these drugs to her. They were deeply involved in the habit themselves, and rather than helping her get better, they kept drawing her back into the same destructive lifestyle. I do not drink alcohol nor smoke. In fact, I am a vegetarian. So I found these characters and behaviors reprehensible and totally unacceptable. Just 4 weeks ago, I woke up around 5 a.m. and realized that Regina was in my room and on the phone. She was clearly high, and she knows that I do not want her in my room in that condition. I asked her to go to her room, and she told me that Sammy's girlfriend was in her room. I was alarmed and angry because that girl should never have been in my house, let alone around Regina, since she is one of the enablers who constantly bring her the substances she is addicted to. I told Regina that the girl had to leave, and one of my drivers dropped her off. 30 minutes later, Sammy came to my house shouting and demanding that I come downstairs to face him. He said I had no right to ask his girlfriend to leave my house. He was ranting and threatening, waking up everyone, including the children. I eventually went downstairs and had to instruct the security to physically push him out of my compound. The level of audacity was shocking. Without the influence of drugs, could he have been so bold and disrespectful? They did not stop there. On several occasions, they verbally assaulted and intimidated the police officers stationed at the house for security. The officers were simply following instructions to restrict access for the sake of Regina's recovery, but Sammy and his group would insult and threaten them. Whenever Regina wanted to go out and I was not around, she would become extremely hostile toward the police and domestic staff. She would shout, threaten, and use abusive words, insisting that she must leave the house no matter what. There were at least 2 serious incidents where she left home in the evening and did not return until the next day. The first incident, she returned in the morning around 9 a.m. When I asked where she had been all night, she casually said she was at a nightclub. When I questioned why she would stay out all night, ignoring my calls and refusing to answer messages, her response was, "You are not my father, so don't ask me where I was." I found out that she was with Cassie and that Cassie was staying in Regina's house in Life Camp. Cassie is the chemist and supplier of the group. I had to go to Life Camp at 6 p.m. to ask her to leave. With her around Regina, the therapy became a joke. On another occasion, on the kid's birthday to be precise, I returned home with the kids because Regina said she would stay with her Nollywood friends for dinner. She didn't return until 5 p.m. the next day. I took so much nonsense just for the sake of the kids. I also knew that drugs had a lot to do with it. As to her reasons for continuing with drugs, she will always say, just like her mother, that it is a celebrity lifestyle. They will always mention two well-known pop stars. Imagine the pain of a husband trying to help his wife recover, only to have the process sabotaged by her siblings and friends, the very people who should have been supporting her healing. This pattern of behavior made it almost impossible for her to recover. Each time progress was made, they would undo it by smuggling in the same drugs she was fighting to give up. The entire household lived in tension and fear because of the constant harassment, interference, and disregard for boundaries. It will be interesting to know her reasons for the violent behavior in the house the day that Sammy and other siblings came and attacked my staff and security, taking Regina away after doing a video which they posted the next day. Why did they do that video? Why did they post it? They simply planned and orchestrated a script all in my absence, regardless of the fact that my kids were there. They took away many things from my house, including one of my phones, money, and many other items. Everything that happened that day was in my house, in my absence. Nobody was beaten, and nobody could have contemplated that. It is blatantly false to say that I sent thugs to beat Regina in another house. The video that went viral was filmed entirely in front of my house by Regina's sister and her friend. It was a pure Nollywood scenario, in front of my property, in my absence. Sammy should have a life of his own outside of Regina and focus on building his career independently. When his brother Lawrence went to London a couple of years ago to do his master's degree, I personally sponsored him with $75,000 for tuition and upkeep. I sent him abroad partly to help him escape the toxic environment of drug exposure and bad influence around him at the time. Out of fairness, I offered Sammy the same opportunity, but he declined, insisting he wanted to remain in Nigeria to pursue his music career. Unfortunately, he has since been arrested several times by both the police and the EFCC. His behavior has become increasingly violent and unstable. What he needs now is total rehabilitation and professional guidance. Otherwise, his aggression and self-destructive tendencies will only worsen.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.
Indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, has said that the detained Biafra Republic agitation leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, has not forfeited his rights to defend himself before the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja, after the judge, Justice James Omotosho, ruled on Friday and stated that Nnamdi Kanu's rights to enter defense has been forfeited and thereafter fixed November 20, 2025 for judgment, as Nnamdi Kanu was seen to have staged a defensive confrontation with aggressive loud voice, challenging the court that the federal government allegations against him has no legal basis or any aspect of the Nigeria law that backs such allegations. This, Barrister Oloyejimako, the organizing lawyer for the detained Biafra Republic agitation leader, had on Wednesday said in a written and video statement posted on his X social media account that Nnamdi Kanu is competent enough to defend himself, especially given the political elements in the case which he understands better than any lawyer. In a press release issued and made available on Friday, IPOB, in the statement signed by Emma Powerful, said it strongly condemns the new round of fake news being pushed by certain Nigerian media outlets. The false claim that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has forfeited his right to defense in the ongoing trial before Justice James Kolawole Omotosho of the Federal High Court, Abuja, is a desperate lie meant to mislead the public and cover up an illegal process. Let the truth be clear, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has not forfeited anything. What is happening in court is not a fair trial but a political show. Up till today, neither Justice Omotosho nor Chief Adigboyegba Awomolo, SAN, the government's lead prosecutor, has been able to point to any valid, existing law that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu supposedly broke. Their silence speaks volumes. It is a quiet confession that this entire case has no legal foundation. The core question remains simple. Can anyone be prosecuted or convicted without a living law that clearly defines the offense and prescribes a punishment? The answer is written in Section 36(12) of Nigeria's 1999 Constitution. A person shall not be convicted of a criminal offense unless that offense is defined and the penalty therefore is prescribed in a written law. This means you cannot charge or convict anyone unless the law exists in black and white. No judge or lawyer can twist that. The Supreme Court has said the same thing many times. In Auko vs. Fagbemi, 1961, AG Federation vs. Abubakar, 2007, and NNPC vs. Fawahinmi, 1998. Where there is no law, there can be no trial, no conviction, and no justice. But instead of obeying this clear rule, Justice Omotosho keeps trying to force Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to open his defense, as if pretending there's a valid case will make it real. This is wrong. It's a misuse of power and a clear violation of fair hearing. You cannot force a man to defend himself against a ghost charge. So we ask again, under which law is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu being tried? What act of the National Assembly defines his supposed offense? And by what right does a judge compel a defense where no offense in law exists? Nigerians deserve honest answers, not propaganda. Everyone should read Section 36(12) and know their rights. It protects all of us from tyranny. Any court that ignores the Constitution becomes part of the problem, not the solution. IPOB fully supports Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's stand in refusing to legitimize this illegality by entering a defense. The truth is unshakable. No valid law supports this case, none whatsoever. Now, Justice Omotosho says he will give judgment without even allowing final addresses from both sides. That's laughable and unheard of in criminal law. If that is truly his position, then maybe he needs to go back to law school and learn what due process means.
Directives of the Supreme Court, judgment in FRN v. Nnamdi Kanu in suit number SC/CR/1361/2022, delivered on the 15th of December 2023. The relief I'm seeking, my Lord, is a very simple. The expunging from the records of this very honorable court the purported plea of not guilty entered by myself, the defendant, here the applicant, on the 29th day of March 2025, the same having been obtained under deception, coercion, and in clear violation of Section 36(6)(a) of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, and in defiance of the Supreme Court's binding directive in FRN v. Nnamdi Kanu. I'm asking my Lord for an order setting aside all proceedings conducted pursuant to the said defective plea, including but not limited to the scheduling of defense, witness summons, and trial dates, the same being founded on a nullity admonition. An order declaring that the 7th count charge, dated 29th March 2025, disclosed no triable offense known to law, having been founded on repealed statutes, namely the Terrorism Prevention Amendment Act of 2013, repealed by the Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act of 2022, and the Customs and Excise Management Act, Cap C45, LFN 2004, repealed by the Nigeria Customs Services Act of 2023, and in flagrant disobedience of the Supreme Court's order for amendment, and order striking out the charge in its entirety for want of jurisdiction, the same being incompetent and void ab initio. an order directing the immediate release of the defendant applicant from custody, there being no valid charge pending before this very court, and such other orders as this very honorable court within fit and just to make in the circumstances. It was dated, my lord, the 6th day of November 2025. Thank you, my lord.
Yes,
Yourself do something, you will do it. And you're just sitting for people. And you wonder why God cost you this. Useless black man. You don't know what justice means. You have no idea what justice means. You don't know what justice means. Useless black African people. You don't even know what justice. Your constitution says you cannot try anybody unless the law is written. Show me the written law. Show me the written law. I want to know the written law. Talk to me now. Show me the written law. Are you okay? Don't go close. Don't try that rubbish. Don't try it. Don't try it. Don't try that rubbish. Don't try that rubbish. Useless people. You don't know law. You don't know law. Your own constitution you don't respect. Supreme Court judgment you don't respect. Then why are we in the court of law? Why are we in the court of law, I ask? Nonsense. You think Brigade can ask you to jail me and you jail me? You are dreaming. You are dreaming. I'm telling you that you are dreaming. Nonsense. Your constitution says you cannot try anybody unless the law is written. Show me the written law. Show me the written law. Don't try it. Don't try it. Don't try rubbish. Don't try rubbish. Useless people. You don't know law. You don't know law. Your own constitution you don't respect. Supreme Court judgment you don't respect. That's why we in the court of law. Why are we in the court of law, I ask?
Good morning.
I know you attended the proceedings today.
Yes, I did.
For Nigerians to know.
Yeah.
Just a summary of what happened.
Well, what happened in court today, for me, continues to be travesty of justice. I've always said it, that in Nigeria, there appear to be two sets of rules. One for the Igbo man and another for the other Nigerians. This is exactly what I saw in court today. First of all, my name is Honorable Obi Agocha. I represent the great people of Iguano, Umuahia North and Umuahia South Federal Constituency. I am the primary representative for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. So I'm going to speak to you as a layman. I'm not a lawyer.
Osazuwa-Konnede, bringing you the news in a more digital way. Osazuwa-Konnede, bringing you the news in a more digital way.